friends, and welcome to another video in our series on core skills for project managers and engineers. And in this video, we're going to be touching on the topic of negotiation and persuasion. What's the difference and why it's important for you? So why is negotiation or persuasion an important skill for you as a project manager or an engineer? Well, firstly, negotiation is part of life. As a matter of fact, you do it every day. You might do it consciously or even subconsciously. As you walk on the sidewalk, well, you have to negotiate past other pedestrians. In your discussions about what we're going to eat for dinner, that's a negotiation as well. So why this is important? Because in an ideal world, you would always be right and everyone else would always agree, and therefore you would always get what you want. Now we know, unfortunately, that's not true, and therefore negotiation and persuasion is not only a key social skill, but it's even more important in the business world. For you engineers, it is a critical skill, because guess what? You are smart and you think your solution is the best answer, but your client might not necessarily agree, and therefore you need to now find the middle road between the best solution and his solution or his ideas. And for you as project managers, well, you are constantly operating in a matrix environment. You constantly need to negotiate for resources, for funding, and therefore you are constantly in areas of tension. So for you, it is just as important. So negotiation and persuasion is a critical life skill, a social skill, but for us in the technical environment, it is a crucial soft skill, because you might find that you've reached the ceiling in your technical progress, and now you need to start working on your soft skills. So you might be tempted to think that persuasion and negotiation is the same thing, and they are quite closely related, but let me clarify for you. Persuasion is more about telling, whilst negotiation is more about trading and exchanging. Persuasion is subtle, whilst negotiation is more explicit. Persuasion is influencing, suggesting, urging, prodding, whilst negotiation is explicit in the sense that you are inquiring, you are exchanging ideas, exchanging options, priorities in order to reach a win-win between the two parties. So before we get stuck in some tips on how to be a better negotiator, let's just quickly talk about some of the traps or things that you should avoid when it comes to negotiation. Well, as we said, persuasion is more subtle and it might be more in the moment. Negotiation, on the other hand, is formal and it is more structured, and therefore one of the key pitfalls that you should avoid when it comes to negotiation is to not prepare. Another pitfall to avoid is to focus on the individual and to get personal. Another thing to avoid is to rush it, to be in a hurry. And a key tip to avoid is to get emotional and allow your emotions to get in the way. In other words, losing your cool or raising your voice. Now there are a lot of other things which you must and must not do, but these are just some of the top of mind crucial things which you should avoid when it comes to negotiation. So how do you become a better negotiator? Well, let's just be frank, it is almost impossible. No, it is impossible to make you a better negotiator in just a 6-minute video. So we will be pointing you to some good resources which we would really urge you to reference. But to try and make it easy and just condense a few tips for you, we need to split our tips into before and during. So before the negotiation, the key word is preparation. Prepare, prepare, prepare. What do you need to prepare? Well, firstly, you need to prepare yourself. You need to be clear on what you want out of the negotiation. As a matter of fact, you need to prioritize your interests. And then you need to clarify what is your walk away terms. In other words, if the negotiation reaches that point, you are willing to walk away. Another good tip to do before the negotiation is to research and read up and try and find out as much as you can about the other party. What might be their interests and what might be their priorities and what might be their walk-away terms. And the third good tip to do beforehand is to define your BATS knife, your best alternative to a negotiated agreement. What does that mean? Well, it means that if everything falls apart, what is your alternative? And are you willing to live with it? In other words, to clarify in your own mind, is it worth staying in the negotiation, or will you be willing to live with your best alternative? So during the negotiation, there are also a few good tips. And here we are referring to the principled approach or the principles of negotiation, which is also called the Harvard method. And the key tip during the negotiation is to not get personal, to separate the person from the problem. Why is this important? Because you actually need the person on the other side. That person is your ally, not your enemy. You need that person in order to reach a win-win scenario. The second tip is to focus on interests and not on positions. In other words, make sure that you understand what is important for the other party. And how do you do that? Well, and that's the third tip, by asking a lot of questions. Probe, ask, and then keep quiet and listen. Listen with the intent to better understand the interests and priorities of the other party. Another good tip is to offer potential solutions. Start generating ideas, be creative, and put it on the table and ask the other party to critique and comment, because this process will also show you and it will also allow you to hear and listen to how the other party is thinking and what might be more important or less important for them. And then lastly, and that is also part of the principled method, the Harvard method of negotiation, is when the negotiations are going well, to come to a certain point where you agree on objective criteria. In other words, engage the other party. Once that other party has now trusted you, engage that party and develop objective criteria of what and how a good solution will look like. Once you have that criteria, that will then further aid you to evaluate further suggestions. Well, there you have it. That unfortunately brings to an end our tips for becoming a better negotiator. But as we said, it's impossible to convey everything that you need to know in 5 or 6 minutes. So we would like to point you to 3 great resources, books that we can highly recommend that you read, which will greatly help you to improve your skills with negotiation and influencing. The one is Crucial Conversations, the second one is Influence, and the third one is Getting to Yes. If you read these books and you refer to them, we can guarantee you will definitely grow and improve your negotiation skills. Well, friends, that brings us to the end of this short video in our series on core skills for project managers and engineers. And we here at Project Pro and VBCom, we are all about making you a better engineer and a better project manager. So have a look at our website for some cool short courses in exactly this vein. Short courses, micro courses, which can really help you improve your hard and your soft skills. We will see you again when we do another installment in our series on core skills for project managers and engineers. Cheers.